G'day, I'm Paul. So the new Ford Ranger, it's been revealed and we did an in-depth look at what we can expect from it. You can click up here to watch that one. But Ford just dropped a teaser on the new Ford Everest, and I thought we'd do a video on what we're expecting out of the Everest when it finally does launch in early 2022. Sorry about the rough surroundings here. We're in the middle of filming and this news dropped, so we thought we'd stop and put this together and see how we go. Now in this video, what I'll do is run over some of the new footage they've just released, plus the information that we know about the Ranger, plus also some spy footage that we got a little while ago. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you can find out every single time we do one of these videos, but let's get stuck into this. So let's kick off with the exterior, and while this car is camouflaged, you can tell exactly where they've got the design from, and it was kind of the same story with the current Everest. So right down the front there, you can see that big open grille, and then you have that horizontal slat that runs there with the Ford logo built into it. C-shaped LED headlights, and it looks like this will also get matrix LED headlights, which is similar to what we see in the Ford Ranger. Now, the other curious thing as well, it appears that there's like an orange section around the headlights there. Often they have an indicator on the outboard for the US market, so it could mean that Ford is finally deciding to sell this vehicle in the States. But nestled under that Ford logo as well is a camera for the 360 camera, and then a radar down the bottom for things like radar cruise control. And then if you whip around to the side of the car, you can see another camera under the wing mirror there with an LED indicator. So this all tells us that it'll probably get the same 360 camera system that we've seen in the new Ford Ranger. And that's going to be good news for things like trailers and parking in tight spaces. And it looks like it also has both front and rear parking sensors as well. There's a shot down from the roof of the car, and I think they did this deliberately because in between the roof rails, you can actually see a big panoramic sunroof there as well. So it looks like the front section opens up. This will be great for kids. Kids love sitting in the back seat of these cars and being able to look out the roof. And I think this type of thing in the Everest really will enhance the interior. And look, I think they're going to spend a lot of time and money on making sure the interior is a huge leap forward from the current generation Everest, which kind of just feels a little bit sort of commercial inside the cabin and not quite as luxurious as some of the competitors in this segment. Around the back of the car, we're seeing some chrome highlights on the back of that C pillar. And then in addition to that, it looks like it has an aerial that pokes out of the shark fin aerial. The whole point of a shark fin aerial is to make it compact and not have that. So I don't know what the story is with that. But also on the back there, LED strips. And there's a curious thing. You can see the LED lights along the back of the vehicle actually look like they stretch and connect in the center there. And I don't know whether they've padded that up to kind of disguise it a little bit further, but it looks like they may actually meet in the center. And if not, they actually just curl around in a C shape as well, similar to the front end. And there's also a brake light integrated into the rear spoiler there too, with the wiper attached at the base of the rear window. So they haven't tucked that in. Now at the back there as well, you'll see plenty of room for a tow bar. I suspect this will get a 3.5 ton braked towing capacity. Other vehicles in this segment, like the MUX, have now moved up to 3.5 tons, and Ranger at 3.1. It's kind of fine, but not enough. And the reason they're going to move up is because I think this will also get a V6 diesel, and I'll run through that in a little bit more detail in just a sec. Now, what about the interior? So I mentioned before that yes, this is kind of shared with a Ranger, but they need to make the interior a whole lot more luxurious than it was in the current Everest, and they're definitely going to be able to achieve that. So we did get some spy shots of an Everest testing here in Australia, and that's where we spotted initially that first 12-inch screen. It is a whopper. It comes with Sync 4. We've seen that now revealed with Ranger. This will really give this vehicle a step ahead in terms of the competition. If you think of something like a Prado, for example, it's got an 80-inch display. It really is just quite a small screen in comparison to this. This will really sort of move the game forward in this segment, and that's what a competitor needs to do. You can't just be releasing the exact same thing every single time. The good news about that screen is it comes with over-the-air updates, and Ford has said that 50 modules or more in the car can be updated. So it means that while your car's sitting at home connected to the Wi-Fi, you can be getting new features or changes to the way that the car drives overnight without having to do anything. And that's through an embedded SIM inside the car as well. So that's pretty cool. We reckon also that it will get a TFT screen ahead of the driver, similar to the Ranger. So they have two grades in the Ranger. They've got a smaller one that still has digital stuff along the side, and then they have a full screen gauge cluster there ahead of the driver, and I think the Everest will probably get that in top spec trims, especially these ones here that have that panoramic roof. We have seen as well with Ranger, some of the lower models will have a smaller 10-inch screen, but it's also vertical. So I think regardless of which option you go for in Everest, it will still have either of those two vertical screens. In terms of space, Everest was always a 7-seater, a little cramped in the third row with not much room behind the third row for luggage. So hopefully Ford has addressed that with some changes to the the platform. We know with Ranger they moved some of the suspension components on the rear of the car. They're also able to increase the track. More track should mean more interior room, especially if they have moved the wheelbase as well for Everest. Finally, what about the engines? So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that it will probably have engines shared with the Ranger. We did hear at the very end of the Ranger reveal that we attended in person, the Raptor sounds like it's going to get a petrol turbo. And I don't know that that's going to be translated to the Everest, but we do know that if it does share itself with the Ranger, it's likely going to get both the single turbo and the twin turbo 2-litre diesel engines. And they are pretty much what you find in the Everest at the moment. They may get a bit of a bump up. They currently output 500 Newton meters of torque and they're mated to a 10-speed automatic, but that could see a bit of an increase, especially if they are going to 3.5 ton brake towing capacity. They probably want just a little bit more juice out of that 4-cylinder diesel. But then one step further is the 3-litre turbocharged V6 diesel. So this is called the Lion, which is the name of the engine. It's been used previously in some Land Rover, Range Rover products before they moved to the Ingenium engines. And most recently it was used in the F-150 before it was discontinued there. So we suspect this engine will make its way into the Everest as well. And this is probably the option you want to go for if you are towing. When you tow 3.5 tons, you really need enough grunt behind the wheel, and a 2-litre diesel probably isn't enough, but a 3-litre V6 is really going to hit the ground running. We reckon it'll be around that 200 kilowatts of power and 600 Newton meters of torque mark. In addition to what they've done with Ranger, Everest will continue as a full-time all-wheel drive. They do have rear-wheel drive versions of the Everest, and they may offer those as well with the smaller diesels, but the V6 most likely will be paired to a full-time 4-wheel drive, because getting that much torque to the ground needs a pretty decent all-wheel drive system. Now, what's my take on all of this? Look, there really aren't too many surprises here with Everest. We've seen what it looks like here in the spy photos. It kind of translates to what we've seen with Ranger. And I think that's a good thing, because the Ranger, in my opinion, is a good looking truck. This, on the other hand, really will take it to that next level with creature comforts inside the cabin. I really do hope Ford has pushed the envelope with perhaps heated rear seats for the second row. That panoramic roof looks promising, but let's hope they've added a bit more luxury to the interior, because to be honest, if you are going to be carting your family around, yes, it's great to have off-road convenience, but really would be nice if Ford added a little bit of luxury into that as well. It's most likely still going to be capable off-road with the option of a rear differential lock, and also the TMS system, which allows you to configure the drive modes while you are off-road as well. And I'm excited about the technology package too. And what does this mean for the competitors? Well, Prado is kind of old at the moment. It's going to feel comprehensively old when this is launched, and the rest of the cars in this segment as well. MU-X was just launched, but again, if Ford is going to release a V6 diesel in Everest, it will make the MU-X feel very old. It already feels old with that infotainment system compared to this, and the over-the-air updates and the other tech that this is going to be getting. So look, let's watch this space and see what the competitors do to respond to this. It's also our tip that this will get a plug-in hybrid or a hybrid at some point in the future along with Ranger, and we reckon that'll be around the 2023-2024 mark when that happens. And when that does happen, it'll be unique to this segment, because we don't think anyone else is working on this right at the moment, or won't have anything ready in the near future. So that will be interesting to watch as well. When's it going to launch? We expect this to launch around April-May 2022, shortly after Ranger is launched, and hopefully they will have enough supply, because semiconductor issues are still ongoing. This will be built in Thailand for the Australian market, and hopefully they get on top of semiconductors and all of the parts they're currently short of with the rest of the cars on sale around the world. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. Let me know in the comments section below, what do you think about the new Everest and the teaser they've shown us here? Remember, we've already shot videos on the new Ranger. You can check those out on our channel. But until next time, take it easy.